पैसों वाले ही हैं ये, तो many goals are there in our group. तो वो power जो है यहाँ से हमें
A very good evening, all of you. I am CA Vineet Arora, moderator of this webinar. We are delighted to welcome you all in the webinar being organized by the committee of ICAI. It is my pleasure to be a moderator for this session on webinar on recent PMLA.
कल सीपी में आप काफी ज्ञान दे रहे थे, मैंने कहा रिएक्शन नहीं
Very
करते
hot topic and GST transfer of goods by in a short while we start this webinar.
Speaker is on,
Like
क्या
about the
लेकिन वो डर से बस नहीं हुए.
The profession of chartered accountancy has always been recognized for the quality of education, training, and strong grips over the technical standards with globalizations and increasing business complexities. It is essential that chartered accountants equip themselves with the changes, offering and stand out to the expectation of the society. Our institute is constantly working and contributing to the charter to the needs and requirements of our members and has taken various initiatives for them from time to time in the directions. With this view, the CP committee of ICI has always been foremost to provide opportunity to their member to boost their knowledge base. The program for this evening is as follows. There are two sessions. First session is related to recent changes, PMLA and bail provision. It is a very hot topic in today's scenario. And GST, transports of goods by road. And in our middles, our Vice Chairman CA Gyanchand Mishra ji is available. I request to our Vice Chairman CA Gyanchand Mishra ji, and I will also want to give some introductions for the Vice Chairman CA Gyanchand Mishra ji, Vice Chairman of CPA Committee and Chairman of Committee of Insolvency and Bankruptcy of ICAI. Presently, he is serving the ICAI as a Central Council member and conveyor of Tender Monitoring Directorate of ICAI. He has more than 24 years professional experience and standing to the credit of an established chartered accountants. Under his vision, this year's CP committee taking new initiative for the member. Now I am requesting to Gyanchand Mishra sir for giving our opening remarks.
So thank you, CA Vineet Arora ji, moderator of today's program. Another moderator I can't see, he's also joining soon, Anurag Pandey ji. Very respected speakers of today's program, CA Advocate Prakash Sinha ji, and my younger brother, CA w.r.t ji from Ghaziabad. And of course, the Secretary of the Committee, Ajitna Tiwari ji, entire staff of the committee and respected participants of today's program. Good afternoon to all. Friends, indeed, it's a great pleasure to me to welcome you all. As we all know that the topic being taken for deliberation today is very hot in the sense that PMLA has been, amended and certain provisions have been taken where the CA/CS/CWA has been covered for certain activities. And most importantly, the person who is going to take on this topic, CA Prakash Sinha ji, is a well-renowned person in this area of practice, and I'm sure that you people are going to benefit a lot. And I'll request Prakash ji to kindly highlight the activities which have been undertaken and how the chartered accountants can take precautions to avoid the situation where they could be get any sort of notice from the department, or they could be held responsible for any of the activities which is to be covered under PMLA under new amendment. My good friend CA w.r.t ji will be deliberating on GST with respect to the road transport, which is really again a very huge area to cover. And I still remember few of my clients are in transport segment. So half truckload, full truckload, how to pay, where to pay, what are the responsibilities. So all those things generally the people get confused. I am sure that Vineet ji will deliver and deliberate on the topics which are of practical importance for the members, how they have to undergo those things. Friends, well said by Vineet Arora ji that CP committee is taking a lot of initiatives in the interest of the members, including the technological sphere developments. And I'm sure that this year is going to be one of the very important year for the committee with respect to the robust website and wonderful mobile app, and how to strengthen the capacity building of the members in such a way so they can really meet out the challenges of the learning in coming time. CP is totally dedicated for the learning of each and every member, and I'm sure about it that with the contribution of you all, we will be providing the best services in the CP committee. Friends, I always request all the members that whosoever want to be speaker or moderator on any sessions, on any topic, any subjects, they kindly reach out to the CP committee, connect to Ajit Tiwari ji, and we assure you that this is not a platform where only the learned speaker or senior speakers we try to come up with the new faces, because profession is young now, as the India is the youngest country. So I'm sure that you people will write to us, and we will try to give you a good platform at CP committee, so that you also get benefited, and with your interaction and knowledge, the participants also get good benefit. By these words, I once again welcome both the speakers, of course, both the moderators, and again, all the participants in this today's 2 hours CP Unstructured program being hosted by CP committee. And I'm thankful to Ajit Tiwari ji for his untiring effort to make this program happen on every Wednesday. So by these words, welcome to one and all again, and wish you a very happy learning. Thank you very much.
Thank you, CA Gyanchand Mishra ji, Vice Chairman of CPA Committee, for his kind words. CA Purushottam Khandelwal ji, he's a Chairman of CPA Committee. Right now, due to busy schedule, he is not available with us. And now I'm going to our first section speaker, CA Advocate Prakash Sinha. Now I'm giving a little bit introduction due to a little time. I'm giving an introduction of Prakash Sinha. He's an experienced chartered accountant and a practicing advocate enrolled with the Bar Council of Delhi, and has more than 25 years of experience in the fields of direct and indirect tax laws, fiscal laws, and corporate laws. He's a chartered accountant turns advocate and a qualified master's in laws with gold medal. He has got the experience of PMLA, IBC, GST, custom income tax matters, both are domestic tax and international tax, including transfer pricing. He has been an active member of various committees of the ICI, CTC, and other professionals body. With these words, I'm giving mic to our first learned speaker, CA Prakash Sinha ji, for delivering his session.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, respected Khandelwal Sahab in absentia, respected Gyanchand Mishra Sahab, respected Ajit Tiwari Sahab, respected Vineet Arora Sahab, my co-panel member, who will be discussing on the GST issue, and all the participants of this webinar. In fact, my learned participants and learned member of the ICI for this webinar here, I pay respect to all of you, sir. Please accept my humble namaskar to all of you, sir. The topic which has been given to me, sir, is the topic of great interest here. This topic of great interest, why it is a great of interest here? Because the recent development that is taking place in the case of the PMLA. PMLA, as we know that it was in 1999, it was presented in the parliament. 2002, it was passed from the parliament. However, it has been notified in 2005 here. And 2005, it has been notified from the parliament. And after that, there are a lot of amendment has taken place here. The PMLA has become such a law, like a draconian law that people generally ask here. And this draconian law has developed from since 2005 to 2023 now. around 17 years or 18 years, we can say. And in this 18 year of a journey, we have seen lot of changes in the PMLA. Changes are less here, but the implication is high here. Further, lot of litigations which are there into the PMLA, and some of the important litigations that is there in the case of Nikesh Tarachand Shah, and the second is the Vijay Madan Lal, that we will be discussing in these two parts separately here. I have framed my discussion mainly into two parts here. First part, we will be discussing about the recent notification which has been issued under the PMLA, because I understand that many chartered accountant brothers, company secretary brothers, ICI brothers are being covered here. And for this purpose, I have tried to cover two notifications. One notification is dated 3rd of May 2023, and the other notification is a notification of yesterday only, that is the 9th of May of 2023 here. These two notifications has a wide-ranging implication here. Besides this, there is another notification is there where they have amended the rules, maintenance of accounts rule here. So let's come to the our discussion here, and I would like to share my PPT here. Hopefully, I'm able to share my PPT.
It's visible, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Great, sir. So first part of this, just before going into the notification issue here, let's discuss about the brief part. What was the PMLA and why this is happening so here? So first part is that how to understand the PMLA here. The prevention before this part here, the PMLA was introduced in 2002. PMLA Act was introduced in 2002 here, and before that there was an act that was submitted. Before that there was a bill in Parliament in 1999, in fact 98, and after that there is a standing committee recommendation was there in 99, and that standing committee recommendation was accepted by the government, that time government, and the Parliament had passed the PMLA Act 2002. However, it was notified from 1st of July 2005 here, and it was introduced as a statement of object and reason mentioned to make money laundering as an offense and to attach property involved in the money laundering, so that a serious threat to the financial system of India is adequately dealt with. So it was mainly for the purpose of dealing with the money laundering, and the money laundering was in such a way that it was causing a serious threat to the financial system. So this law was enacted here. Money laundering, what is the money laundering? We'll understand here. The term money laundering means a process of changing a huge sum of money obtained from the crimes. We will see that what are the crimes into origination from to a legitimate source. It is a serious financial crime that is being implied by the white collar and street level criminals in a similar way here. I will come to this one. The purpose of the enactment was, although it is there, I will try to find out what is the purpose, but I have summarized this part. The purpose of the PMLA was to provide the confiscation if there is a crime of the PMLA. So what can be that? What can be the solution? There is a confiscation of the property derived from or involved in the money laundering and the matter connected therewith and incidental thereto. And for this purpose, the PMLA was enacted. PMLA enabled the government or the public money laundering authority to confiscate the property earned from the illegally gained proceeds and empower to ED in the Department of Revenue, Ministry of Finance, to investigate the offense. This and the government has made some changes here. So as I discussed, what was the statutory process here? The PMLA bill was in 1998, was introduced in the Lok Sabha on 4th of August 1998. The bill was referred to the Standing Committee of Finance, which presented its report along with some recommendation on the 4th of March 1999. And this all the recommendation was accepted by the government. Therefore, the act was passed. It got assent of the president on 17 January 2003. However, it was notified in the 1st of July 2005, and it applies to whole over India. So this was the brief introduction of the part here. Main issue of the PMLA is about the money laundering. Before we go to the notification, I'm just discussing what is the offense of money laundering. Offense of money laundering has been defined under section 3 here of the money laundering. And I would like to request that this definition clause has got a change, or wide change, after the judgment of the Supreme Court in the case of Vijay Madan Lal here. Earlier, and this judgment was, this section was challenged before the Supreme Court in the case of Vijay Madan Lal, and it was said that the activity and the word or and word and was challenged here, and the Supreme Court has said that this is not the and, but it has to be read as or here. And we will come to this part here. So I'm reading this slide itself. We say that what is the offense of money laundering? Money laundering means, offense of money laundering means whoever directly or indirectly attempt to indulge, very much important, whoever directly or indirectly attempt to indulge or knowingly assist or knowingly is a party or actually involved in the process of activity connected with the proceeds of crime, including its concealment. So very much important. It is a proceeds of crime is one of the important ingredients here, including its concealment, possession, acquisition, use, and project or claiming. This word of and was got changed by this one here, and it is as it is untainted property, but it shall be guilty of the offense of the money laundering. For the removal of doubt, it is hereby qualified that a person shall be guilty of offense of money laundering if such person is found to have directly or indirectly attempted or indulged or knowingly assisting or knowingly is a party or actually involved in the one or more of the following process or activity connected with the pursuits of crime. So if a person is either involved in the concealment, either involved in the possession, either involved in the acquisition, either involved in the use, or the word here or after use, the word and was there. Now they have changed that it has to be read as or, projecting it as an untainted property. If you say that you are trying to, the main purpose is that the untainted money has been projected as the tainted money has been projected as an untainted money. This means the money laundering has been done here, and claiming that as an untainted property in any manner whatsoever. So the tainted money has been projected as an untainted property, and further it has been claimed as an untainted property by whatsoever. This process or activity connected with the proceeds of crime is a continuing activity and continuing till such time a person is directly or indirectly enjoying the proceeds of the crime by its concealment, possession, acquisition, or use or projecting. It's an untainted property, or claiming it as an untainted property in any manner whatsoever. So it has a very, very wide ramification. The crux of this, that the moment it is a tainted property and a person has involved into the concealment of the tainted property, either by possession of the tainted property, or acquisition of the tainted property, or even if use of the tainted property, and it has been claimed by them, or it has been claimed by them that it is an untainted property, this means there is an offense of the PMLA, offense of the money laundering has been committed. And once the offense of the money laundering has been committed, it will continue to carry on. It is a continuing till such time a person or directly, indirectly enjoying the proceeds of crime by its concealment or possession or acquisition or use of projecting as an untainted property or claiming is an untainted property in any manner whatsoever. So it will claim on it will go on here. What is the punishment here? Very much important, and here we will have a discussion here. Whoever commits the offense of money laundering, what we have seen in section 3, shall be punishable with a rigorous imprisonment for a term which shall not be less than 3 years but which may extend to 7 years and shall also be liable to fine. So the moment you are committed the offense of the money laundering, there is a punishment. Natural corollary, there is a punishment here, and the punishment is the rigorous imprisonment of a term which shall not be less than 3 years, and it can go up to the 7 years, and shall also be liable to be fined. Another part is that which we have to also discuss. If the offense is if the schedule of, because the offense we have to discuss, we were discussing the parts here. What is the offense here? And we will discussing the offense means the schedule offense under the statute itself. The moment there is a schedule offense, and in the schedule A, in the paragraph A here, in the part A, part B, part C is there. In the part A, paragraph 1 talks about the offense under the IPC. The second talks about the offense under the paragraph 2 talks about the offense under the NDPS Act here. The moment there is a offense of NDPS Act, the period of 7 years can be extended to 10 years here. So these are the brief understanding of that part here. Proceeds of crime is one of the important terms which we will be discussing here. Means a property derived or obtained directly or indirectly by any person as a result of criminal activity related to such schedule offense, or the value of such property. We will be discussing the schedule offense or the value of such property, or where such property is taken or held outside the country, then the property equivalent to the value of the held within the country or abroad. Explanation: for the removal of doubt, it is hereby clarified that the proceeds of crime include property not only derived or obtained from the schedule offense, but also property which may directly or indirectly be derived or obtained as a result of criminal activity relatable to the schedule offense. So the word proceeds of crime has been enlarged here. Now come to the, before we go into the discussion on that part here, we have just understand the few of the important provision here. I'm coming to the notification which has been issued by the government and the implication of the notification here, because the recent changes is the recent notification here. For the purpose of going into the notification here, we should understand that what is the implication of the notification here. And for this purpose, I will go to the section 2, which is the definition section, and the 2 subsection 1 and the subsection SA, clause SA, very much important. And this amendment is for the SA only. Let's see what is the SA. SA talks about person carrying on designated business or profession. It is not about the person who has committed the offense of the PMLA. It is not that part. It says that person carrying on designated business or profession. So if you are a person who is carrying on designated business or profession under SA, then this will apply to you. Let's see what is that person saying. Person carrying on designated business or profession means, so it is an exclusion. So it is a not an exclusive but an exhaustive definition that has been given. If we say that a person carrying on activity of playing game of chances for cash or kind and include such activity associated with casino. So the designated person is that a person carrying on activity of playing games and games of chances, not by skill. There's a difference between games of chances and games of skill. The games of chances has been covered, the person carrying on the designated business or profession. The second part is that, second in the section 2 is that Inspector General, I think that this slide is there. Yes. Inspector General of Registration appointed under section 3 of the Registration Act has been notified by the central government. The third is the real estate agent as may be notified by the central government. Fourth is the dealer in the PCS metals, means you can say the jewelers or the dealers in the PCS metals, precious stone and other high value goods have been notified by the central government. Fifth, person engaged in safekeeping and the administration of cash and liquid securities on behalf of other person has been notified by the central government. The sixth is important. Person carrying on such other activity as the central government may by notification so designate from time to time. this power, here the central government gets the power to expand the scope of the section 2(1) SA 6, means person carrying on the designated business or profession. If the central government by notification includes some person as the person who is the carrying on designated business or profession, then that person will be covered here. The central government, by this notification itself, what he has done, Supreme Court has done, what the central government has done, central government has issued 3rd May notification under the power which is under section 2(1) SA subsection subclause 6, means to designate Supreme Government is designating the person carrying on the designated business and profession. Therefore, the central government is specifying by way of notification that you are a person who are carrying on the designated business or profession. Then see by how the scope has been amended here. The notification is on the screen here. Let's see. In exercise of the power conferred into by subclause 6 or clause SA or subsection 1 of subsection 2 of the PMLA Act. So I have discussed about the clause 6, clause SA of subsection 1 of section 2 of the PMLA Act. The central government hereby notified. So since the power is with the central government, so the central government hereby notifies that the financial transaction carried out by a relevant person on behalf of the client. After that, there is a comma. Very much important. It talks about the financial transaction carried out by a relevant person on behalf of the client. So you are carrying on this financial transaction on behalf of his client. The word client has been defined under the statute itself here. So if a person who is carrying out or the person notified the financial transaction, these are the financial transactions. So first of all, these are the financial transactions carried out by the relevant person. We will see that relevant person will include CA, CS, ICWA on behalf of the client. Most important part is that how we can say that a chartered accountant has carried out these financial transactions. A chartered accountant or a CS has carried out these financial transactions. Let's see this part here. And this financial transaction, and in the course of his or profession, the following, in relation to the following activity: buying and selling of any immovable property. Means if a chartered accountant is doing any carrying on any financial transaction for the purpose of buying and selling of any immovable property on behalf of his client, then he is covered here. This means very much important. Buying and selling of the immovable property by a chartered accountant on behalf of his client, and the financial transaction for this purpose will be covered here. Managing the client money, security, or other assets, that will be also be activity that will be covered here. Management of bank, saving, and security account, that will also be covered here. Organization of the contribution for the creation, operation, and management of the companies. If a chartered accountant is involved into the financial transaction related to activity of the organization of contribution for the creation, operation, and management of a companies here, that will be covered. Creation, operation, and management of company, LLP, partnership, trust, or buying and selling of the business entity, that will be financial transaction. If the CA is engaged in this financial transaction on behalf of his client, then it will be covered for the purpose of section 2(1) SA, which define the person carrying on designated business and profession. Shall be activity for this section and explanation. Explanation. What is the explanation? Is say that for the purpose of this notification, explanation, relevant person includes an individual who has obtained the certificate of practice under this as per the ICI, and invite either by individually or through the firm, similarly like a ICWA, CS, and ICWA, whether individually or a firm. If they are the person, then they will be covered as a relevant person here. And for this purpose, the fund means the fund which has been defined under section 223 of the income tax, means partnership fund or LLP will be covered here. So now the issue is that by this, the moment a chartered accountant get involved or carried out or or get involved in the financial transaction carried out by the relevant on behalf of each client here, and these are the 5 financial activity. And for this activity, a CA has been involved for the purpose of financial transaction, then he will be covered under the definition of the 2 subsection 1 subsection SA, which talks about the person carrying on the diligent business and purpose. For a moment, just park your question. We will come to the discussing of this part. Yesterday only, there is another notification has been issued by the central government, and this notification is also in the same line, and I will read this notification, and this notification is also on the screen here. Let's see what this is, see what the notification talks about. In exercise of the power conferred into the subclause 6 of the subclause SA of the clause SA of subsection 1 of section 2 of the PMLA, the same power as is coming where we have discussed here. So I'm not going to discuss the same thing here. The central government hereby notifies that the following activity, again it says the following activity, when carried out in the course of business on behalf of or for other person, as the case may be, as an activity for the purpose of this subclause, namely, what are the activity? Acting as a formation agent of company and the LLP. The moment a person, it does not say about the chartered accountant, it say that if any person is, it does not say about the chartered accountant, if he says that if any person who is carried out the in the course of his, who has carried out the following activity, that activity that he can be covered for the purpose of the definition under person carrying on diligent business and profession. What are the activity? Acting as a formation agent of company and the LLP, acting as or arranging for another person to act as director or secretary of a company, a partner of a firm, or similar position in relation to the other company and the LLP, providing a registered office, business address, accommodation, correspondence, or the administrative address for a company or the LLP or a trust, acting as or arranging for the other person to act as a trustee of an express trust or performing the equivalent functions of another type of trust, and acting as or arranging for another person to act as nominee shareholder for another person, then what will be there? Then you are covered for this purpose of section 2 SA. It does not say about the chartered accountant here. In the first notification, it was qua the chartered accountant, company secretary in ICAI. Here he does not say it was any person here. However, there is exclusion clause for this purpose. For the removal of doubt, it is clarified that the following activities shall not be rendered as activity for the subclause 6 of the SA of the subsection 1 of the notification, namely, an activity that is carried out as a part of the arrangement of lease or sublease tenancy or other agreements or arrangements for the use of land, building, or space, and the consideration is subject to deduction of income tax. If you are doing on some basis here, or you have got the payment for this purpose, and that you have got the rent for this purpose, and you are giving the accommodation paper, and for this rent 190 TDS under 194I has been deducted, then you will not be coming into this part here. Any activity that is carried out by an employee on behalf of the employer in the course of relation of employment, any activity that is carried out by an advocate. Now, the first time that is come, advocate is coming here. In the earlier notification, the advocate was not there. Here it says that an advocate, a chartered accountant, a cost accountant, and a company secretary who is engaged in the formation of the company to the extent of filing of declaration as required under the clause B of subsection 1 of section 7 of the company. So, to the extent of only filing work, a CA, company secretary, and advocates will not be covered here. However, If it is more than that part here, this part here, filing of declaration as required under this one, then it will cover here. Any activity of a person which falls within the meaning of the term intermediary as defined in the clause N of section 2 of the PMLA Act, that will be covered here. So that will not be covered. This means the central government, by way of these two notifications, has extended the definition of the person carrying on the designated business and profession. In the first notification of the 3rd May, the chartered accountant, company secretary, and ICW were especially covered. However, in the case of the study notification on the 9th May notification, although it does not say about the activity of the CA, but it say activity of any person. However, exclusion clause has been given that if an advocate or chartered accountant or cost accountant and company secretary in practice who engages in the formation of the company, so that first party that who engages in the formation of the company only for the purpose of engagement of the foreign company to the extent of filing of declaration as required under clause B of subsection 1 of section 7 of the Company Act. So it is the exclusion clause is very limited and very restricted. It talks about formation of the company and for which the filing of declaration as required has been given under the subsection 771B of that Company Act here. I will not go into the Company Act here. Let's see then if you have been covered, if the CA has been covered as a designated person, what will be the repercussion here? We have to understand what is the repercussion, because I understand there is a lot of issue there. What are the repercussion there? Then we will go to the term, understand the term, what is the reporting entity? The term reporting entity has been defined under section 2WA. You say the reporting entity means a banking company, a financial institutions, intermediary, or a person carrying on the designated business or profession. So the moment the term person carrying on designated business and profession means he is the part of the reporting entity, and the central government, by way of these two notifications, is extending the scope of the term person carrying on designated business and profession. And the moment you expand the term of the person carrying on designated business or profession, this means the person has been covered as a reporting entity, and the moment it was covered under the reporting entity, the obligation of the reporting entity will arise to the person here. Then what is the obligation of the reporting entity? We will see that each of the provision here, how the reporting entity is covered here, what is the scope of the reporting entity, and reporting entity, and now a chartered accountant is covered as a reporting entity here. Now see the implication here. Now for this purpose, implication is that section 11 is the 11A is the obligation on the reporting entity. Now the chartered accountant, which has been covered by way of this 3rd May notification, or the chartered accountant, which is covered by the 9th May notification, they will be treated as a reporting entity. And the moment you are covered under the reporting entity, all the consequences of the reporting entity will follow. Let's see what is the reporting entity. And the reporting entity is coming under the section 11. It is a section 11 talks about, 11A talks about the obligation of the reporting entity. And I feel that let's see, the obligation of the reporting entity. The head note of this section is, or the chapter 4, it is coming to the chapter 4. It talks about the obligation of the banking company, financial institution, and intermediary. The reporting entity has been included here. It says that every reporting entity, this means the chartered accountant has been covered here, shall verify the identity of its client and beneficial owner. What is this means here? Authentication under the Aadhaar card, or authentication under the Aadhaar, if the reporting entity is a banking entity, so it is not covered for us. Offline verification under the Aadhaar, targeted delivery of the subsidy. This will be, CA will be covered here. Use of passport issued under the Section 4 of the Passport Act. Use of any other official valid document as mode of identification as may be notified by the central government. So the obligation on the reporting entity shall verify the identity of its client. The first part is that the moment you are covered here, the moment CA are covered here, you have to ask the client that give me your identity. And for this purpose, there is a specific part like passport here, the offline verification of the Aadhaars here, or the officially other document which we need. And however, let's read what is the second part. It say, provided the central government is satisfied that the reporting entity other than the banking entity comply with such a standard of privacy. So you have to comply with such a standard of privacy. And it is necessary and expedient to do so by notification permit such entity to perform authentication under subject clause A also. So the clause A, which was right now only for the banking company, if the government understands that there is a privacy has been maintained, then the reporting entity will be asked for to cover here. If the reporting entity performs that the pass here, the use of mode. So these are the obligation of the reporting entity which is covered under the 11 here. Now I'm coming to the second definition of the verification, which if we have already discussed here. Section 12. If you have been asked to do certain verification, then the obligation you have to report. A reporting entity has to report. What he has to report here? Reporting entity to maintain record. Very much important part is that every reporting entity shall maintain a record of all the transactions, including information related to transaction covered under the clause B, in such a manner as to enable is to reconstruct the individual transaction. Very much important. You have to maintain the books of account in such a manner that you can reconstruct here. Furnish the director within such time as may be prescribed here. This means there's a reporting part is also there. We will discuss that there's a reporting obligation is there. Furnish to the director under Section 49 within such time as may be prescribed information related to such transactions, whether attempted. It does not say whether executed here. It says that even though attempted by the person here, executed and nature and value such may be prescribed. Third part, very much important, maintain the record. It is very much important, maintain the record or record of document evidencing identity of the client. You have to maintain the evidence of identity of the client and beneficial owner. So not only the client, but the beneficial owner also. We will see that what is the benefit. The term beneficial owner under the PMLA Act is something different under the Companies Act here. Section 90 of the Company Act is not going to apply. It is a different PMLA beneficial owner, as well as the account files of the business correspondence related to clients. So all the information has to be maintained here. Another onerous responsibility is that in the Section 2, it talks about that the information maintained, furnished, verified shall be confidential also. And the third part is that the record referred to in clause A shall be maintained for a period of 5 years from the date of transaction between the client and the reporter. So for the 5 years, we have to maintain the record here. It is very much onerous. And how to calculate the 5 years is the record of the 5 years in clause E of Section shall be maintained for a period of 5 years after the business relationship between the client and the reporting entity has ended or the accounts has been closed, whichever is later. So these are the onerous responsibility which has been covered, which has been given to a chartered accountant, company secretary, and the ICWA. They have tried to cover the chartered accountant in the same bracket as the banking company, financial institution, and intermediary. The chartered accountant are a small person here. In an individual chartered accountant cannot have such type of infrastructure to maintain all these things here. And if you don't maintain here, you will see that what will the consequences here. So we have seen that first part is that you have to do the verification of the reporting entity. Second part is that you have to maintain the accounts records of the reporting entity. And third part is that access to the information. This means the director can call the chartered accountant to give the information to you at any time here. What it say, the director may call from any reporting entity, means a chartered accountant here, any of the records maintained under section 11A of section, we have discussed 11A and the 11A of the 11A subsection 12 and subsection 12A. So we have seen that, and subsection 12A, and any additional information as he considered necessary for the purpose. So the director can call for such type of information from the chartered accountant, and that also that you have to keep the confidential. Fourth part is that the chartered accountant has to maintain enhanced due diligence also. What are the due diligence that have to do is something else here, but you have to cover something more, and that is covered under the 12AA. We say that every reporting entity shall, prior to commencement of the specified entity transaction, even prior to commencement of such specified transaction, we have to do some due diligence here. And I will say what are the specified transactions. A specified transaction is covered here. Specified transactions means for withdrawal or deposit of cash exceeding such amount, any transaction in the foreign exchange exceeding such amount, any transaction in the high value imports or remittance, or such other transaction as you been notified. So these are the very onerous responsibility which has been casted upon the CA, CS, and ICA. And fourth part is that if you do not do it, then there is a power to director to impose fine also. What are the fine here? We say that the fine can go from 10,000 rupees to 1 lakh rupees for each of the offense here. By an order, impose the monetary penalty of such reporting entity or a designated director or board as the employee, which shall not be less than 10,000 rupees, but may extend to 1 lakh rupees for each of the failure. So I don't know, our fees may not be equivalent to 10,000 rupees here, but the responsibility of the penalty which has been levied upon us, imposed upon us, is 10,000 rupees to 1 lakh rupees here. Fourth part is that if you have sharing the data, then you will not be covered for the purpose of, though there will be no civil proceeding there will be no civil or criminal proceeding can be initiated under the section 12, under section 14, and section 15 talks about what are the procedure and manner of the furnishing information. What we have discussed is the 11, 12, 12A, 12AA. For this purpose, what the central government will make a rule, and there is a rule called maintenance of account rules. And under this rule, there has been amendment in the 23rd March of 2023 itself here. The rule has also been widened here. So not only the scope of the through the notification, the act has been, the scope of the designated person has been widened, but another part is that by way of the amendment or by way of notification, the rule has also been widened here. The scope of the rule has also been enlarged here. So it talks about the central government in consultation with the RBI prescribe the procedure and the manner of maintaining and furnishing information by a reporting entity. So since we are covered under the reporting entity under section 11A of subsection 1 of section 12 and subsection 12 and subsection 1 of section 12A. So for this purpose, the central government has already notified the rules. This rule is already in the existence here for the purpose of implementation of this act. So we can see this type of what is the obligation that will be covered here. If such obligation is there, what are the remedies there with the reporting entity? If some order is passed against the reporting entity, chartered accountant, by the adjudicating authority, then an appeal can be moved under section 26. And I have highlighted this part here. The reporting entity agreed by the order of the director under subsection 13. We have discussed about the 13 here, because under the 13, the power will be given to the ED to issue the order here, may prefer to the appeal to the appellate tribunal. So the appeal can be preferred to the appellate tribunal. Another part is Another obligation is Section 50, which talks about what is the Section 50? Section 50 of the power of authority regarding summon, production, and document to give evidences. Now, the adjudicating authority or director can issue the summon to an reporting entity, to the officer of the reporting entity. This means chartered accountant can also expect summon if we are not complying with the provision of this part here. So it is covered here. It says that, if you can see that B part here, it says that director shall, for the purpose of Section 13, have the same power as vested in the civil court under the CPC while trying a suit in respect of following matters, means discovery of inspection, information, enforcing the attendance of a person, including officer of the reporting entity. This means a reporting entity can be called by a officer ED. The officers of the reporting entity can be called. Since the chartered accountant is a reporting entity, if you are, since by way of that notification, the chartered accountant can be called by the ED also. The summon can be issued to this part here. Another important part is that, which is not related to the notification, for which I feel that ICI, I understand the ICI is discussing this, both the notification internally, and they will be covering, they will be taking up this matter with the government here. But and this discussion is not at all connected with the ICI. What will happen in the ICI? They will take up this matter. It is just an academic discussion here. And before the notification also, the ICI has already been covered as an officer to assist the ED for the purpose of their inquiry. And for this purpose, Section 54 is there. 54 talks about the following officers and others hereby empowered and required to assist the authority in the enforcement of this act. So this officer of the ICI, does not say about the member of the ICI, it says the officer and member of the ICI. Even the officer of the ICI is covered for the purpose of Section 54, where they have to assist the ED. Officer or member of the ICWA is also covered. Officer or member of the ICSI is also covered. Reporting entity, by way of notification, we have CA has part of this. We have become part of the reporting entity. However, this part, HH and HI and HJ, operates independently. This means apart from the reporting or apart from the assistance as a reporting entity, the chartered accountant, ICWA, member of the ICWA and ICSI is already covered under Section 54 to assist in the inquiry here. With this part here, we have understood that what are the implication of these two notifications is there. And if we have covered this implication here, these are the main changes. I have discussed about the changes, recent changes, and the recent notification also. Recent notification. And the second part is that, although I have less time to discuss about this part, I will be discussing one of the very important provision, which is the bail provision under the PMLA Act. Why the bail provision under the PMLA Act is there? I will tell you that. I'm just going to the bail provision. The bail provision is coming under the Section 45 of the PMLA Act here. Earlier, the bail provision was differently worded, but subsequently it has been differently worded here by way of amendment here. And earlier, the bail provision was for the purpose of there are twin condition of the bail provision. That is the most important part, is that there are twin condition of the bail provision under Section 45. It was qua the heinous crime, which was into the Part A of the schedule here. However, subsequently, government has merged the Part A, Part B. Therefore, when the act was enacted here and the bill was passed, in the Part A, there was only two crimes were there: crime under the IPC and the crime under the NDPS Act. And these two crimes were those crimes where the imprisonment was more than 7 years here. So therefore, they were covered under the heinous crime under the Part A of the schedule. Under the Part B of the schedule, what was there? It was said that it will not be covered as a heinous crime. And for this purpose, there was earlier, it was said that if the amount involved in the crime was up to 30 lakh rupees or 30 lakh rupees, which was subsequently amended to say that it should be 1 crore rupees here, and the offense which was Part C schedule here. However, when this matter came before the Supreme Court in the Nilesh Tarachand Shah, the argument was that the Supreme Court, by way of amendment, there is a heinous crime into the Part A of the schedule. There is a less heinous crime in the Part B of the schedule. So therefore, the less heinous crime cannot be treated as equal to the more heinous crime, and the twin condition of the bail should apply to the Schedule A offense only. It should not be applied to the Schedule Part B offense here. And for this purpose and other purpose also, and in the Nilesh Tarachand Shah, the Supreme Court Justice Nariman struck down the Section 45. There was a very long judgment. I'm just giving to this one. So main issue was that the violation of the Article 14 and Article 21, wherein it was said that the unequal has been treated equally for the purpose of granting the bail under the Section 45. And therefore there was an amendment came into the Section 45. I will read the Section 45, what was the earlier was there, and let's see, understand this part here. 45 was very much important here. Under the Section 45, it says that, I'm coming to this part here. I think don't know, power to arrest is there related to bail provision. Concept of bail, we will discuss. We have already, I'm not going to the detailed part of the concept of bail here. 43, yes, PMLA Section 37. 45 is there. Cognizable offense. Nilesh Tarachand has struck down the Section 45(1) completely here. Why it was struck down? Yes, Section 45 was earlier was that notwithstanding anything contained in the CRPC, no person accused of an offense punishable for a term imprisonment for more than 3 years under the Part A of the schedule. Part A of the schedule includes few of the crimes here. So when there is a Part A of the schedule, imprisonment for more than 3 years, so it was quite a cognizable, even a cognizable offense here, and where the offense was imprisonment was more than 3 years, and it was contained in the Part 1 of the schedule, Part A of the schedule, then only the twin condition was supposed to apply. However, by way of amendment, this, and for this purpose, the Supreme Court in the Nilesh Tarachand said that unequals has been treated equally here, and other article applying the Article 21 has struck down the 45. Subsequently, the 45 has been amended here. What is the amendment part? Is that notwithstanding anything contained in this code of CRPC, no person accused of offense under this act. This means forget Schedule A, forget Schedule B, forget Schedule C. It says that accused offense under this act. This means those offenses here under the A, B, and C, which was the unequal offense here, again is the same here, is still in the statute here. It has not been taken care by the parliamentary amendment here. The unequals has been treated equally here. The point which was raised in the Nilesh Tarachand still remains, and the defect, the constitutional invalidity of the Article 41, Article 14 still is there under the statute here. However, This part has not been covered into the Vijay Madan Lal here. The Supreme Court has not discussed this part of the unequal has been treated equally. They have not discussed this part. They have simply overruled this Nilesh Tarachand Shah on a very different ground here. Due to the paucity of the time, I'm not going into the detail of this part here. I'm just saying that many issues of the Nilesh Tarachand Shah has not been considered by the Supreme Court in the Vijay Madan Lal Shah, particularly for related to the bail condition, where the issue of the unequals being treated equally was raised in the case of the Vijay Madan Lal Shah. And because the twin conditions are onerous condition, therefore, this twin condition cannot be the case where the offense are least heinous crime here. What the amendment has done, B has been merged with the A, and the scope of the B has now the B has become the nil. C has also become the nil. So everyone has become in the part A of the in the schedule A part in the paragraph A of the schedule here. This means whatever the offense is there, the twin condition has to apply. This condition itself seems to be in my view, even though Vijay Madan Lal Shah is there, in my view, it's unconstitutional, and this aspect has not been taken care into the Vijay Madan Lal Shah case here. With this, I understand my co-panel member are also waiting for this, and I have to be on the time here.
Thank you so much, sir, for the wonderful deliberation.
I just want to remove this presentation. How can I remove the news here? How to remove this part here?
And we also received many queries because it is a very hot topic. I am detailing with one to one with the speaker, sir. Sir, first query is, audit report must contain an annexure in question answer from relating to all such issue.
Can you repeat your question, sir?
Audit report must contain an annexure in question answer from relating to all such issue.
Look, you can include this part as in the audit report here. If this audit report, inclusion of this part as in audit report will give a better confidence to you, in fact, a better evidence to you, seeing that these of the transaction was checked or these of the transaction was audited during the course of your audit here. But merely mentioning this part in the audit report does not absolve you from the responsibility which is carved out under the statute here.
And the second query is, are these provisions applicable to CAs doing component and stock audit for banks?
These are the obligation on the chartered accountant where they are indulging into a financial transactions related to certain activity. And these are the activity are limited activity, like I mentioned you, buying and selling of any immovable property, managing the client money, management of the bank saving and securities account, organization of the contribution, creation of the operation of management of the companies, creation, operation, management of company, LLP, like this one here. So if a chartered accountant is simply sitting engaged in the concurrent audit of the banks, so my humble view is that it should not be covered under the third May notification here. However, we have to be very sure that we should not be covered under the 9th May notification. We say that we should not be acting as an agent here, formation agent, or acting as arranging a director or a secretary of a company or a partner of a firm or similar position in relation to the companies here, providing any registered office. Very much important, because it happens that many chartered accountant provides their office as a registered office to any other company. It says that providing a registered office, business address, or the accommodation, correspondence address, even the correspondence address is also administrative address for a company or the LLP. I have seen that many chartered accountants give their office address for the purpose of GST registration and other registration. The moment this registration address has been given, you are covered under this part here. Or acting as an arrangement for the acting or arranging for another person to act as a nominee shareholder of other person. So I will request all my brothers, CA brothers, to go through these two notification, read this notification, and be careful of this. We should not indulge into this activity if we want to save ourselves from the obligation which is under section 11, 12, and 13, 11, 12, 12A, 13 of this part here. Sorry, sir.
And third query is there any penalty if material is delivered to a party without generation of e-way bill?
Sir, can you repeat your question, because I was not able to hear because
Is
my mic.
there any penalty if material is delivered to a party without generation of e-way bill?
That is not a transaction for the purpose of PMLA, sir.
And the fourth question is how this will be proved that a CA is involved, because neither he is a registered buyer nor seller of the immovable property.
Nothing to do with this part here, sir. No need that you should be seller or buyer of the immovable property. It talks about what it talks about. You have been involved into the financial transaction carried out by the relevant person on behalf of the client. So there no need that you have to be a buyer or seller. It says that buying and selling of the immovable property, whoever is buying, whoever is selling, the moment you have been covered or you have been engaged into the financial transaction, you are covered here.
And
There
the
no-
yes, sir.
Hmm.
And the
Yeah,
fifth query,
Yeah, please, sir. Please.
what is the financial transactions? Some of us independent practitioners just advise client and other help in setting up of companies.
So, look, when you are acting as an advisory capacity, you please be sure that you are acting only as an advisory capacity. You are not undertaking any financial transaction. You are not involved into the financial transaction. Means you act merely like an advisory capacity, like a consultant only. Don't increase your scope here. The moment a chartered accountant indulge or involved into a financial transaction on behalf of some client here, which is related to the activities which are mentioned there, then you are coming into the danger zone.
And the final query is, sir, transactions which are covered under section 12AA are never reported by client to us. It is only when they come to file their returns under the various laws do we come to know that they have already entered such transactions. Further, this may also lead to false and bogus allegations made by client against CA, alleging that my CA had advised me and so on.
I feel that he is talking about the 12A of the Income Tax Act.
Yes, sir. 12AA.
Yeah, 12A of the Income Tax Act. 12A of the Income Tax Act relating to certain transactions, which is the issue is that the CA is reading, that CA brother is reading that this information has not reached to the CA. My point is that is something different part here. Here, the PMLA talks about your involvement here. Your involvement, particularly in the financial transaction, which qua the five or six activity which you have done. The moment you are covered here, you, irrespective of the 12AA of the Income Tax Act, you will be covered under the mischief of the reporting entity. So therefore, what should be done here in this, what should be the best course of the response here? Try to get a complete representation from the management here, saying that the management representation letter, in a detailed management representation letter, saying that these of the transaction has not been undertaken or the CA has not been involved into this part, so that we can defend before the ED here. If we can able to defend before the ED, saying that we have never been involved into this type of financial transactions, then we can save our scheme. And like acting like as I told you, sir, in many cases, many chartered accountants give their office place as the registered office place of the any company here. So by way of the 9th May notification, it's already covered. So right now, what we should do, we should tell our client here, please remove this registered office. Otherwise, you have to report otherwise you will be treated as a reporting entity for the purpose of section for the purpose of the PMLA.
Sir, I have one query also. Sir, there are many sections where advocates are not covered from this Act. Is there not a violation of Article 14 of the Indian Constitution Act, which is talk about similarity?
This question needs debate, sir. This question needs debate. Why the advocates are not covered? Because the role of advocate is something different, sir. They are not into these parts here. So I will come into detail here because the moment I will start as an advocate, I will start on discussing this part here. It will take a lengthy part here. But you can see this part here under the 9th May notification. Here it says that any activity which is carried on by advocate here. So you can see that advocate has already been included here for the purpose of these transactions here.
Thank you so much, sir.
9th May notification includes advocate, sir.
Okay, sir.
9th May, yes, 9th May notification, paragraph 6, paragraph C of the explanation includes advocate. I understand that, and I will tell you, sir, why the amendment is being made. Amendment is being done because of the FATF. FATF, there is a peer review by the FATF which is going to take place in the month of September, October. In fact, recently, in the Supreme Court, when the matter of the ED came before the Supreme Court saying that why the tenure of the ED has been extended, the government has taken the plea that the FATF peer review is going to take place in the month of September, and they want that the same ED should continue for this purpose, because there is a judgment of the Supreme Court that the tenure of the ED cannot be increased here from the 2 years, and only 1 year was given, and subsequently there is an amendment was made here. Subsequently, the tenure has been extended here, and this was the region which has been taken, and this all the notification is in order to comply the FATF requirement, and I'm sure that many more notifications will follow it. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. From the behalf of CPA committee, I'm thankful to you for the wonderful deliberation, and every member get benefit from the deliberation from their presentations. And in future, we will also invite you for the wonderful seminar. For not taking so much time, I would invite CA Vineet for the second session. First of all, I want to give a brief introductions about my friend CA w.r.t. He is a member of ICI since 2011. He is a practice chartered accountant. He is a Thomas graduate and law graduate as well. He has qualified DSA, certified course of component audits of banks, certified course of FAFD also. He was former visiting faculty of ICI on indirect taxes for CA final students at Vishwasnagar, Rohini chapters. He had also been faculty of OC, GMCS, classes of ICI, ICSI level. He has provided lectures on direct and indirect taxes, law, audit, etc. in various organizations and institutions, including. He has written many articles on indirect tax which have been published in the website of Tax Guru. He has also been nominated as a member of Board of Studies, ICFAI University, Tripura from 1/4/24/22 to 31st March 2025. He is actively involved in sharing knowledge and updates in print media and digital media, which used to get published in newspaper and television. And our second topic is GST, transport of goods. Not taking so much time, I'm inviting CA w.r.t. for start their deliberation.
Thank you so much, CA Vinesh Bhai. At the outset, I'm highly thankful to the ICI for giving me this opportunity to present my deliberation on a very, very important topic, GST, with respect to transport of goods by road. There are many questions, many confusions are there. So that's why I have selected this topic so that we can get some clarity on this. I'm thankful to Gyanchand Mishra ji also, especially for giving me this opportunity. Manish bhai, can I share my screen now?
Yes, sir, sure.
Is it visible?
Yes, visible, sir.
Thank you. So without taking much time, I'm going to start my deliberation directly. So there are many modes of transport. Road is one of the important mode where goods gets transported. Now, basically, there are two type of transactions generally which can be the goods which can be moved from road. One is GTA, that is goods transport agency. We know it very well, and another people are who are not GTA. Basically, they don't involve in transporting of goods day-to-day nature, but it may be their side business, right? So what is GTA? The important questions comes into my mind. What is GTA? GTA is defined not in that, but in the notification number 11/17, Central Tax Rate dated 28 June. That goods transport agency or GTA means any person who provides service in relation to transport of goods by road. No doubt. Of course, GTA will be the man only, will be the person only when he will be transporting the goods by road. And it's very, very important, please note, and issues consignment note by whatever name called. Consignment note is very important point to be a GTA. If I want to come under the definition of GTA, then I have to fulfill two conditions. One, I must be transporting the goods by road. Another condition, I am issuing the consignment. If I am transporting the goods by road, but I am not issuing the consignment note, that I cannot be covered under the definition of GTA at all. There are many cases practically where client pay for the freight to a person who is not issuing the consignment note. That person might have their own vehicle, might be transporting the goods as a transporter, but he may not be issuing the consignment. So whenever the case is there, the department asks for the details of freight. How much freight you have paid to the transporters. We give the details. It is already debited in our P&L. It shows also either it is inward or outward, doesn't matter. If we are paying freight to the transporters, then department asks you why have you paid the RCM or not. Then if we are issuing, if we are receiving the consignment note, then definitely we are liable to pay the GST on the freight under RCM. We will discuss it later. So but I suppose I am not receiving the consignment note, then we have to prove it to the department, because department generally does not get agree on our point that we are not receiving the consignment note. We have to prove that we have not, of course we have paid to the transporter for the transport of goods, but we have not received the consignment notes, and therefore we are not liable to pay the GST on the freight under RCM. Right. So what you can do while preparing the agreement with that transporter, you can make an agreement in writing that he will if you want to escape from the liability or from the GTA, if he is not issuing the consignment, then put it into written agreement that you will transport my goods, but you will not issue me but you have said that you will not issue me consignment. That may help into the cases when you will litigate the same. So be a GTA. Being covered under GTA, you have to fulfill two conditions: transport of goods by road. Another one is issuing of consignment. Now, the next question comes: what is consignment note? Consignment note is nothing but a document which a GTA issues to the consignor or consignee that these particular goods will be carried in its vehicle, in its goods carriage. If consignment note is not issued by the transporter, we have already discussed that transporter will not be covered under the definition of GTA. Now, why consignment note is being issued? See, if I am giving certain goods to the transporter, as soon as transporter receives the goods, then it is the liability of the transporter to keep my goods in the original conditions and keep that goods safe. For that purpose, transporter issues as a consignment note, right? That meaning that when he issues a consignment note, then lien on that particular goods transferred to the transporter. If there will be any loss to the goods, then transporter will be liable, right? So That's why transporter issues consignment note. If they are not issuing the consignment note, then they will not be covered under the definition of GTA at all. And question of GST on GTA will be seen accordingly. So what consignment note can be in the name of consignment note, or there can be another name as well. There is no difference. But important thing is what is the content, what is the things which shall be contained in the consignment note, and here is the list. First is name of consignor. Second, name of consignee. Next, registration number of the vehicle in which goods will be transported. It is very important to mention. Details of the goods which the consignor or consignee is giving to the transporter. Place of origin, from where the goods will be dispatched. Place of destination, where the goods will be dispatched. And the last one is very important, person liable to pay the GST. Who will pay the GST? Consignor, consignee, or even the GTA. Government has made some amendments in the law where GTA can also pay the taxes. So it needs to mention who will be liable to pay the GST. Next, very important questions which creates confusion in the mind of the people. Whether GTA needs to be registered in the GST. It's very important question. So we will get the reply by reading the notification number 5/2017, Central Tax dated 19 June 2017. It is not for the GTA, but it is general in nature. But it is important for us because in freight, in majority of cases, GST is liable to be paid under RCM, reverse charge mechanism. So it says, this notification says, if a person who is engaged in making supply of taxable goods or services on which RCM applies is exempted from obtaining registration under GST. A GTA, if supplying goods to certain person and that certain persons are liable to pay GST under reverse charge mechanism, and GTA does not transport the goods of any other person except those persons who are liable to pay GST under the RCM, then that GTA is not required to take the registration under GST. This is very important point to be noted. If I am supplying the services, I am giving my supplying my services only to the people. There are 7 categories of the person which we will discuss in coming slides. If as a GTA, I am giving services only to those 7 people, then I will be not required to take the registration under the GST, because this notification 5/2017 specifically gives exemption from the registration under GST to such people, right? And important point to note is, even if the threshold limit of GST registration crosses, even then GTA is not required to take the registration. Even the receipt of the GTA is crossing rupees 40 lakh, 20 lakh as per the use, then GST is not required to be registered if he is fulfilling the condition that he is supplying the services only to those people who are paying the GST under RCM. This is the case, there is no need of registration. Next, as we have discussed in the earlier slide, that GTA is supplying the services only to the specified person. And who are these specified person? Here is the list. There are 7 categories of the recipient of goods transport agency services where law has made them liable to pay GST on this freight under the reverse charge mechanism. And who are these people? First is factory, which is registered under the Factories Act 1948. Second is society, registered under Society Registration Act 1860 or under any other law. They might be registered as a society, there is no law. If society is there, if they are taking the services from GTA, then society is required to pay the freight under the RCM. Next is cooperative society established under any law. Cooperative society is required to pay GST under RCM if they are receiving the services from the GTA. A GST registered person, even if I have taken the registration voluntarily under the GST and I am receiving the services from the GTA, then I am liable to pay the GST under the reverse charge mechanism. Next is body corporate, that is company established under any law. Next, partnership firm registered or not, including AOP. AOP is also covered over here. Next is casual taxable person. So these are the 7 persons. If they will, these 7 categories of persons will receive the services from the goods transportation agency, then they have to pay the GST under the reverse charge mechanism. And GTA is not liable to take the registration if the entire supply of the GTA is being supplied to these people. Even then, even if the threshold limit is being crossed, GTA is not liable to take the registration under the GST. So it creates a lot of confusion. Many questions comes to the professionals whether that these are the conditions. I am supplying the goods only to 4 or 5 big corporates. Whether I'm required, and they are the corporators saying with registration under the GST, only then they will take the services from me. Though then you can refer this notification 5/2017 and give it to the GTA so that he can send it to the corporates where he is supplying the services, saying that I am not required to take the registration since you are liable to pay the GST under RCM, and I am not supplying any services except to the body corporates. So in that case, there will be no liability of the GST registration. Next, there are certain cases we have taken the case study where whether GTA is liable to be registered or not. In first case, goods transported, say in the cases the GTA is supplying goods to both, to seven recipients, 7 people of 7 person, and another is unregistered dealer. So total supply of the GTA to the 7 category recipients is 8 lakh. Who will pay the GST on this? Of course, that 7 people, because we have already discussed that 7 people are liable to pay the GST under RC. And besides the 7 category people, the GTA is supplying goods to the unregistered dealer also. So 7 category total supply is 8 lakh and unregistered dealer supplying is 4 lakh. Total receipt is 12 lakhs. My question to you, of course, answer is written, but my question to you would have been whether GTA is liable to be registered under GST in this case. The answer is no. Why? Because aggregate turnover the GTA is less than the threshold limit under the GST. So he will not be liable to register in this case. Next case study. Again the same thing. 7 category recipient receipt is total 18 lakh. Recipient of services will pay the GST under the RCM. Unregistered dealer supplies 4 lakh. GTA will be liable to pay GST on this. Now total turnover is exceeding 22 lakhs. Then in that case, threshold limit is being crossed, so GTA will be liable to take the registration. Why? Because he is not only supplying services to the 7 category people. He is supplying to the unregistered dealer also. And unregistered dealers are not liable to pay the GST under RCM. So GTA is liable to pay GST to the government. And in that case, he has to take the registration, because once he will take the registration, only then he will be able to pay the GST to the government. So in that case, he has to take the registration. But if he wants to avoid the registration, he does not want any complicacy, then he can plan that he will supply services only to the people who are being covered under the 7 categories. If this will be the case, then there will be no liability of the GTA to get registered under the GST. Third case studies. 7 category people, the total supply under the 7 category recipient is 22 lakhs. Who will pay the tax? Recipient, of course. That 7 category people will pay the GST under RCM. Unregistered dealer, supply to unregistered dealer is 0 in this case. Now again the same thing, total turnover is exceeding the threshold limit. So whether GTA will be registered, GTA shall be registered, the answer will be no. As we have seen that notification number 5/2017 clearly says that GTA, any person is not required to be registered if he is supplying the goods or services where total liability will be of the recipient under the RCM, then the person who is supplying the goods or services will not be liable to be registered. So in these cases, GTA will not be liable to be registered under the GST. Next, who will pay GST under RCM? Notification number 13/2017. So there are three parties in the GTA by road. One is consignor, second is consignee, third is GTA, that is Goods Transport Agency. Now the question comes to the mind: who will, if the GST is required to be paid under the RCM? Now the question is, who will pay the GST? So the answer is the people, that 7 categories people who is liable to pay the RCM. Whosoever, either consignor or consignee, basically we have to see who is paying the freight. If consignor is paying the freight and he is covered under the 7 categories, then consignor is liable to pay GST under RCM to the government. If the consignee is paying the freight amount to the GTA, Goods Transport Agency, then consignee will be liable to pay GST to the government direct under the RCM. So GTA will not be required to pay GST at all if the supply is being made to the 7 categories person. Now, another important question is place of supply for a GTA. Place of supply is very important point. IGST Act talks about the place of supply, and there is section 12 subsection 8 which talks about the place of supply in case of goods transport by road. It says the place of supply in this including by mail or courier to a registered person. If the supply is being made to the registered person, say consignor or consignee who is taking the services, if registered under the GST, then location of such person, location means registered address of such person, will be the place of supply under the as per the IGST Act. And if the supply is being made to the unregistered person who is not registered under the GST, then location will be the place of supply, will be the location where such goods are handed over for their transportation. Generally, goods are handed over for the transportation either at the consignor place. If GTA is going, suppose if there is a factory or a premises where the GTA and the consignor is not registered under the GST, then a GTA is going to that premises for picking up the goods. In that case, that the location where that factory is situated will be the place of supply. And if that factory is already registered, then of course that registered address will be the place of supply. But suppose GTA is not going to the factory to pick the goods. The unregistered person is arranging the goods to deliver it to the place of transporter, to the address, to the premises of the transporter. So where the goods are being handed over here, in this case, the goods are being handed over for their transportation at the premises, at the address of the transporter. In this case, the place of supply will be the location where the premises or office of the transporter is situated. So this is the place of supply in case of GTA. And why this place of supply is important? Of course, whether CGST or SGST shall be charged or IGST shall be charged. It will be defined from here, because if location of supplier and place of supply, these two things are in a same state, then CGST and SGST will be charged. But if location of supplier is in one state and place of supply is in another state, then IGST will be charged. So whether we have to pay CGST or SGST or IGST, then we have to check this place of supply rule, which talks like this. If it is being supplied to registered person, then location of such person, registered person, will be the place of supply. If it is being supplied to a registered person, then the location where goods are handed over for their transportation shall be the place of supply. So you can now decide after going through this whether IGST will be charged or CGST, SGST will be charged. Now another question comes: what will be the place of supply where location of supplier or location of recipient is outside India? This might be the case because we are sitting at border where the borders are connected by road and the goods might be transported from the road. Then in that case, section 13 subsection 9 of the IGST Act says the place of supply of services of transportation of goods other than by way of mail or courier shall be the place of destination of such goods. Meaning thereby, if the goods are being transported to the to a place which is outside the India, then place of supply will be the place outside India, and in that case it shall be treated as export subject to fulfillment of other condition, like taking the foreign money, taking the current amount in the foreign convertible foreign exchange, etc. And if vice versa is the case, suppose goods are being transported in India from outside India, then in this case the place of supply will be the location where the goods is being destined, then India will be the place of supply, then GST will be charged in this. So if goods are transported outside India, then place of supply will be outside India. It will be treated as export subject to other condition, and vice versa is the condition. Goods is being imported into India. The services of GTA is being taken for the goods being transported from outside India to in India. Then in that case, location of place of supply will be the India, and IGST of course will be charged in this case. Now, very important question comes, which creates many confusions among the businessmen. What is the rate of GST on GTA service? See, some people pay at the rate of 5%, some people pay 12%, some are even not paying the GST on the freight. So there are a lot of confusion. So we will clear all these confusion with this slide. GTA is allowed to pay GST either 5% without ITC or 12% with ITC on their consignment under forwarding charge. So what is the condition? GTA services can be paid under two methods. One is forward charge, where GTA will pay taxes to the government directly. Government has made this provision. Or GTA can be paid under the RCM, as we have already discussed. If the services is being supplied to 7 persons, then GTA will be paid under the RCM. Now, GTA is allowed to pay. Now, if it is, let's say, the GTA is ready to pay the taxes under forward charge, GTA has fulfilled the procedural compliances, which we will discuss later, then GTA can pay the taxes to the government under forward charge directly. Now, the question again comes, what will be the rate? Then it is clear that rate will be GST rate on their transport services will be 5% without ITC. It means if GTA is not availing the input tax credit at on capital goods or input services, then the rate will be 5%. But if GTA wants to avail the ITC, then rate will be 12% on transportation services. I hope I am clear. And now another question comes, if the rate is 5% without ITC, then why GTA will opt the with ITC 12%? Now, this answer of this question depends on case to case. Suppose it is a big transporter who is purchasing the big vehicle where GST is being paid. You know, there are even 28% is the rate of the GST on the big vehicles. Then in that case, GTA would like to take the input tax credit on these vehicles. If the amount is huge, then GTA may opt 12% rate with ITC. But if the purchase of vehicle is not too much, GST input tax credit is very small amount, then it is always suggestible to pick the rate of 5% without ITC. So it depends on case to case. You have to check the you will have to ask this question from your customer who is the GTA, that what will be the mode of transport, how many vehicles you will purchase, how many ITC you will avail, and then accordingly you can plan 5% without ITC or 12% with ITC. So this is the case where GTA is liable. GTA is opting that GTA will pay the tax under forward charge, right? Now another case comes where GST is liable to be paid under the reverse charge mechanism. Who will pay the tax? That 7 categories person under the RCM, and what will be the rate? It will be 5%. It will be 5%, not 12%. So there is a lot of confusion whether 5% we shall pay under RCM, 12% shall be paid under RCM. Some people are doing, they are paying the 12% rate. Why? Because they will avail the input tax credit immediately at the rate of 12%. But if the rate is 5%, generally what is happening, I have experience, if I am paying the taxes at this rate, let's say 12%, but department is taking the plea, the department is giving you the input tax credit of 5% only, not the 12%. Why? Because the rate is 5%. Why you are paying the 12%? So it is very important. Sometimes even if we want that what is happening, what will be go if we will pay 5%, 12% instead of 5%, because we have to take the credit itself. Once here you will pay the GST under RCM, and here you will take the input tax credit. So what is the loss? No, please take a note. To pick the right rate is very important and very crucial, because department may deny you the difference ITC of 7%. So please advise to your clients that if you are paying the freight under the RCM, the tax rate effectively shall be 5%, not 12%. Now another question comes, GTA will be able to switch option. See, GTA in first year has opted the option that GTA will pay the tax under the forward charge. Now the question comes whether the GTA till the lifetime will pay tax under the forward charge, or he can opt to pay taxes under the RCM, meaning thereby GST can opt that he wants to stop that he shall pay under the forward charge, and GTA wants that the recipient of the freight pay the taxes under the reverse charge mechanism. So one question is whether the forward charge or RCM charge can be changed. So the answer is yes, it can be changed, but not during the year. It cannot be changed during the year. Once you have opted that you will pay taxes under the forward charge, then entire year you will have to pay taxes under the forward charge. But once the year is ended, now you can opt that you do not want to pay the tax under the forward charge more, and you can opt the option to pay the taxes under the reverse charge mechanism by that 7 categories of persons. So yes, option can be changed. And what is the procedure, which we will discuss it now, how this option can be changed from year to year. Now again the same question, option to pay GST by GTA. If GTA does not exercise the option to pay GST, meaning thereby GTA is not opting to pay the GST under forward charge, in this case recipient will pay taxes under the RCM and the rate will be 5%. Recipient definitely can claim the ITC subject to the other conditions, meaning thereby if the freight is being used, GTA service is being used under the normal business transaction, then of course the entity who is paying the tax GST under RCM can claim the ITC. But if it is for the personal purpose, of course the businessman is registered under the GST, but he is availing the services of the goods transport agency for the transportation of some personal goods, then in that case section 17 subsection 5 block this credit. So recipient can avail the ITC subject to other fulfillment of other condition of section 16 and section 17 of the CGST Act 2017. Now if GST exercise the option to pay GST under forward charge, here GTA is paying, so we have already discussed, he can opt 2 rates, 5% if he does not want to avail the input tax credit of input capital goods or input services, or if he wants to avail the input tax credit, then the tax rate will be 12%. Now, here is the procedure how a GTA can opt for forward charge or a reverse charge mechanism. Say if GTA till last year was paying the taxes under the RCM, but now the GTA is thinking that it will be good if he pay taxes under the forward charge because there is a lot of ITC, or maybe in this year he is planning to purchase many vehicles, right? Then in that case he will be able to avail the input tax credit only and only if he is ready, if he opts the option to pay the GST under the forward charge, right? So what he has to do, he has to file a declaration under Annexure 5. What is the last date? the last date is before 15th March of the preceding financial year. For example, now the new year is starting from April 23. So GTA has to file this Annexure 5 on or before 15th March in advance. 15, at least 16 days in advance, he has to declare in Annexure 5 to the government that I want to pay the taxes under the forward charge. So please take a note, if any of your goods transporter agency wants to opt that he shall pay the taxes under the forward charge, then last date is 15th March before the next financial year started. But yesterday government has issued, it's a coincidence that yesterday has government issued a notification, that is 5/2023 central tax rate dated 9th May. Yesterday government has relaxed this date of 15th March and extended this date to 31st May. If any of your GTA agent, goods transport agency, your client has missed to opt this option and 15th March is expired, so government has extended this date. Now you can opt to pay the taxes under the forward charge for the financial year 23-24 till 31st May. If you will not file this declaration under Annexure 5, which is online declaration, then you will not be able to opt this option of forward charge. And once the GTA is opting the forward charge option, then on the tax invoice, see, I am the recipient. How I will come to know whether GTA is paying pay taxes to the government under forward charge? And for this purpose, government has said that GTA will have to mention a declaration on the invoice as per Annexure 3. So we will discuss Annexure 3 also. Then GTA has to mention this declaration under Annexure 3 on the invoice itself. So this is the declaration under Annexure 5. This is an online declaration. In this, the GTA will declare that he wants to pay a tax under the forward charge, and all the section and the provisions of CGST 2017 will apply accordingly. And he has to give certain details, legal name, GST and PAN, etc. And has to declare that he will not change this option under forward charge taxation during the year. Law does not allow to change this option during the year. He can change once the year is ended. So how you can avail this option? What is the procedure? This is mentioned in this slide. First, you have to register under the GST. If you are registered, then you must have the login ID, password. Just log in at the GST website. After that, you have to go to the services. In services, there is option of user services. In user services, there will be an option which is namely opting forward charge payment by GTA. There you will click, and once you will see the pop-up, then you will click the proceed. You will select the financial year, then you will proceed further. Annexure 5 will appear. You have to select all the check boxes in front of declaration. Then you will file it simply with the OTP or digital signature. And once you will file the declaration, then you can pay the taxes under the forward charge. And this is the sample of Annexure 3 where GTA will declare on the invoice. What is the declaration? That I or we have taken registration under the CGST Act 2017 and have exercised the option to pay taxes on services of GTA in relation to transport of goods supplied by us during the financial year, whatever the financial year is, under forward charge. This declaration has to be mentioned in the invoice. From this declaration, the recipient will come to know that recipient is no more liable to pay the GST under the reverse charge mechanism, because tomorrow when the case will be there, the department will ask why you have not paid the GST under the RCM. Then this declaration, this invoice will help to the recipient of service that we have not paid just because GTA person has opted that he will pay the taxes under the forward charge. Now another question which we have already discussed is whether service recipient can avail the input tax credit. Yes, absolutely. he can avail the ITC 5% or 12%. There is no problem. If GTA, suppose if GTA has availed the option to pay taxes under the forward charge. Now there will be two options. There will be two tax rate. One is 5% as we have discussed without ITC. Another will be 12% with ITC. So question comes whether the recipient of service can avail the input tax credit. If can avail, first answer of this question is yes. Recipient of service can avail the input tax credit. No problem is there, subject to the conditions of section 16 and section 17 of the CGST Act 2017. And if GTA is applying the tax rate of 12%, even in that case, recipient can avail the service tax input tax credit. There is no problem at all. Now, Rule 54(3), Sub-Rule 3 of CGST and SGST rule, what does it say? It says, supplier of taxable service which is a GTA in relation to transport of goods by road, he shall issue a tax invoice or any other document in lieu thereof, whatever name called contain. In whenever a GTA, a goods transport agency is issuing an invoice, there are certain particulars which must be there in that tax invoice or any other document in lieu of tax invoice, whatever is document. These are the following important particulars which shall be there in the, which must be there in the tax invoice or any other document. The first is gross weight of the consignment. What was the weight? Name of consignor and consignee. Registration number, that is vehicle number of the vehicle where goods, from which goods will be transported. Details of the goods which is getting transported. Details of place of origin and place of destination. GST number of the person who is liable to pay taxes, whether consignor, GTA. Right. So it is very important to mention the GST number of consignor or consignee or even the GTA on the tax invoice, and other information as mentioned under Rule 46. There are 16 particulars mentioned in Rule 46 which shall be there in the tax invoice. Now, important question comes, if we are going to take the registration for under the GST for the goods transport agency of your client, what shall be the service accounting code? Here is the group with SAC service accounting code 99679. It is other supporting transportation services. There are further three categories. 996791 is about the GTA for road transport. 996792 is GTA for other modes of transport, and 996793 other goods transportation service. Now a question comes, what is other goods transport services? Very important question. See, GTA never do only transportation. He can do some ancillary activities as well. For example, he can pack the goods. He can basically, if we see the series of transportation, what he will do? First of all, he will pack the goods. Then he will transport the goods. Then he will load the goods. Third service will be the transportation. Fourth service will be unloading. Fifth service will be the unpacking of the goods. So these are the ancillary activities. Loading, unloading, packing, unpacking is the ancillary activities of the transportation. As we know, there are concept of composition supply and mixed supply. If the ancillary activity is the part and parcel of the main service, then it shall be composite supply. Tax rate on other services will be the same as is on the main supply. So in that case, ancillary activity can definitely be carried out by the GTA because it's part and parcel of the transportation of goods, and the rate on these services will be the same rate as is of the transportation, that is 5% without ITC and 12% with ITC. It is always treated as composite supply, not as a mixed supply, because it is essential part. Packing, unpacking, loading, unloading is an essential part of the transportation services. Now exemptions, very important. Any GST cannot be applicable if it is exempted, right? So there is notification number 12/2017, which contains list of services where exemptions are being mentioned. So there is in that notification 12/2017, there is entry number 21, which exempted following goods if these goods are carried by GTA by way of transport and goods carriage. What are these products? If the GTA is giving here their services for the transportation of these below goods, then GST will be exempted, right? What are those products? First is agriculture produce, milk, salt, food grain, and food grain includes flour, pulses, and rice. Rice is also included here. Please take a note. Because rice is not an agriculture produce, but rice is specifically covered under the second part. Third is organic manure. Fourth is newspaper or magazine, which is registered with the register of the newspaper. If a good GTA is carrying newspaper, if registered with the register of newspaper, then it will be exempted. No GST will be levied on the freight charges. Another is relief material meant for victim of natural or man-made disaster, calamities, accident, or mishappenings. So if you are carrying certain goods, like suppose you are going to a places where a lot of cold is there, and you are transporting the warm clothes, and that is being at there are certain conditions, the natural calamity is not good, then in that case, if you are transporting the goods, then there will be no GST on the freight at all, because it is exempted under entry number 21 of notification number 12/2017. And last is defense or military equipment. Government does not want to charge GST on the defense or military equipment, so it is being specifically exempted. Another entry is there, 21A. There are a lot of problems. If suppose GST is supplying the goods to the unregistered people, including unregistered casual taxable person, then there will be exemption from the GST on the freight charges charged by the GTA. If GTA is supplying the goods, supplying the services of the transportation to unregistered person, then there will be exemption from the GST. Exceptions are there. If GST is supplying services to the following person, even if they are not registered, they are unregistered, then GST will not be exempted. Factory, these are the six people. Out of that 7 people which we are discussing, out of that 7, just remove the GST registered person, then 6% will be left. Factory, society, cooperative society, company, LLP, AOP, casual taxable person. If service is being supplied to these 6 people, then GST will not be exempted, even if these 6 people are unregistered. No problem will be there. GST will be levied. But if the service is being supplied to any unregistered person except these 6 people, then GST will be exempted. So it is very important entry. Please take note. Another entry is 21B, where if GTA is supplying their services of transportation of goods by road to department or establishment of the central government, state government, or union territory, local authority, governmental agency, where the governmental department have taken the registration only under section 51 for the purpose of deducting TDS, then the exemption will be there from the GST on the freight charges. Now, it is very important question. Can 2 consignment note be issued for a single transportation? Very, very important question. Suppose I have received a contract for transportation of goods from one place to another. Suppose I am busy, I do not have enough resources. So what I have done, I have hired another person. So at the time of accepting the goods, I have already issued the consignment note to the consigner. Now what I am doing, I am hiring another transporter. So question was whether that second transporter can again issue consignment note. The answer is no. Second transporter cannot issue consignment note. It is very clear that for a single transportation, 2 consignment note cannot be issued at all. So when a GTA subcontracts a work to another GTA, then another GTA cannot be classified as GTA. GTA will be classified only and only when it is being directly hired by consigner or consignee. Then second GTA will always be classified as a person providing trucks on hire, not a GTA, but providing trucks on hire. And on that 18% rate will be applicable, or 12% rate will be applicable accordingly. Now, what record shall be maintained by the GTA? Section 35(2) Section 35 subsection 2 of the CGST Act 2070 says every transporter, doesn't matter he is registered or not registered, if transporter is providing transport of goods by road services, then he shall maintain the records of consigner, consignee, other relevant details of the goods as may be prescribed. Rule 56 of CGST rule has prescribed some records. What are those records? Records goods transported, goods delivered and goods stored in transit along with the GST number of the registered consignor or consignee. So these are the records which every transporter have to maintain. Doesn't matter if he is registered or unregistered. So with this, I have concluded my deliberation. We have discussed who is GTA, what shall be the rate, who shall pay the taxes, whether GST is liable to register or not, what shall be the rate, who shall pay the taxes under RCM or forward charge. If GTA wants to pay tax under forward charge, then what is the procedure, when to apply that procedure to opt whether forward charge has to apply, what are the records which GTA shall maintain. So these are some records, and I hope that it will help you in consulting your transporter clients for better compliance of the GST. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Vineet sir, for delivering a wonderful session. Sir, there are 3 queries. One to one, I will discuss with you. If a supplier have supplied goods to a customer without e-way bill, does it can cause any penalty on the supplier after 8 months from date when goods have been delivered?
See, you have to issue a e-way bill. Now the notice is being issued for the 17, 18, 18, 90 of the assessment and scrutiny of returns. So in assessment, if the assessing officer found that goods were supplied without the e-way bill, then of course he can levy the penalty.
And the second query is, if a customer is threatening to sue for non-generation of e-way bill after 8 months of goods delivery, will it be a valid case?
See, if you have not complied the law, doesn't matter the customer is pressuring you or not. If you are liable to issue an e-way bill and you have not issued, then of course it's a crime under the GST and penalty can be levied. If it is not yet levied, don't be relaxed, because assessment are going on and will be going on after 4 or 5 years. If it comes to the notice of the department, then he can levy the penalty.
And third question is, what about transporters other than GTA?
Manish, your voice got muted at last.
Should proceed with other companies?
Sorry, please repeat the question. Voice was big.
What about transporters other than GTA? Are they required to take registration, and how they should proceed with other compliance in GST?
See, there are 2 types of registration, either GTA or non-GTA. GTA will issue the consignment note, and other person who are carrying the goods by service, supplying the service of goods by road, then they may not issue the consignment note. The registration rules are same. If their turnover, aggregate turnover is exceeding the threshold limit in previous year, then they have to take the registration. Otherwise, they are not required to take the registration. And once they take the registration, then of course they are liable to pay the taxes.
And the fourth question is, transport of sugar is exempted if transported by GTA.
See, sugar per se is not an agriculture produce. What was the exempted agriculture produce? And another in next line, milk, salt, food grain was covered. And food grain was rice, pulses, flour was there. Sugar was not mentioned. So sugar per se is not an agriculture produce. But if you can litigate to cover it in food grain, but if, in my view, in my humble view, it shall not be covered under food grain as well. So in that case, there will be no specific exemption on the sugar and tax shall be levied. There shall be liability under RCM or forward charge as the case may be.
Okay, I think all query has been resolved by you. And on the behalf of CPA committee, Chairman CA Purushottam Khandelwal and Vice Chairman CA Gyanchand Mishra ji, I am thankful to both the speaker for the wonderful deliberation. I think every member have been enriched their knowledge by the presentations given by the speaker. And I am thankful to all the person who joined this seminars. Without the member, it cannot be a successful seminar. And I'm thankful to the CP committee for organizing such a wonderful seminar. I hope this seminar and this kind of seminar will be arranged in future also. I will thank you everyone, each and every member.
And thank you so much, Vinesh Bhai, for wonderful moderation and taking all the queries.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, shall we end this session now?
Yes,